Hello, Group 1. Welcome to your reading. First, let's look at the fear you've been carrying. The cards we have here are the Tower and the Seven of Wands, with the Six of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Okay, one immediate feeling I get is that you may often go through silent breakdowns. In fact, for some of you, this may have happened very recently. Every time the pressure builds too high, you have to release it in an extreme way just to return to balance and calm again. Some people release tension outwardly. They scream, cry, explode emotionally. But your collapse happens quietly. All the destruction, all the crumbling happens internally. It's like watching an apocalyptic disaster movie on mute. From the outside, nobody hears the breakdown. Nobody hears the cry for help. There's just the extreme coldness. You keep shrinking inward, and the pressure keeps intensifying. You can almost feel yourself crackling under the weight. Piece by piece, you break apart, sink deeper, and eventually melt away completely. Yes, this is a destructive process, but it's also a purification process. And after every breakdown, there's this long period of emptiness. You feel hollow inside. But the truth is, you are not actually empty. It's just that your inner world used to be too full, so when space is finally created within you, it feels unfamiliar. You may wonder, why does this always reach the point of collapse? Why do different people, different situations, different environments somehow all lead to the same ending? And when you really think about it, all these situations share one thing in common. There is always a person, a situation, or object that gradually becomes more important to you than yourself. Maybe it was important from the very beginning. This object can be something very small, even a phone call. You may desperately not want to talk, yet still force yourself to answer. Or it can become something much larger, like building your entire sense of identity and self-worth around other people's opinions. Sometimes, even a subtle change in someone's tone or expression can send your mind spiraling. Your fear is deeply connected to constantly trying to prove yourself. Yes, you absolutely have the ability to meet expectations. You can become someone others admire and recognize. But while you are still celebrating one achievement, one victory, another competition has already begun. Maybe it's an entirely new challenge. Maybe it's the same challenge, but now with the new competitors. Either way, there's the exhausting feeling that it never ends. Your mind can stay highly alert, your reactions can stay sharp, you can remain socially active and responsive. But this is not true high energy. This is someone dangerously testing the edge of burnout. Your breakdowns are not caused by physical exhaustion or mental fatigue alone. They come from spiritual depletion. Because there is no visible finish line, and because new challenges can appear at any moment, you feel like if you stop pushing forward, you'll somehow be eliminated or left behind. So, instead of processing your fear and anxiety, you immediately charge forward again. And even if you win every single time, over the years you slowly realize that you still lost something important. Your passion for life, your vitality, your sense of aliveness. Only during those moments of collapse do you finally wake up, and every time after breakdown, you begin tracing your steps backward, asking yourself, when did I lose myself? Which moment took another piece away from me? This is actually a journey of self-recognition. When you visit the past, you begin collecting your fragmented pieces one by one. You'd examine them carefully, categorize them, document them, almost like a librarian archiving precious lost pages. And by doing this, you ensure that from now on, you will never lose yourself again. Now, let's look at the energetic shift currently happening in your life. The cards we have here are the Emperor in reverse and Five of Swords. At the bottom of the deck, we have Five of Wands. Okay, I see a powerful authority figure stepping down from your life. This feels like someone who ruled over you for a large portion of your life. Or perhaps it's not just one person, but a recurring type of person you've continuously encountered. In the past, this person frequently created chaos or constantly found themselves surrounded by problems. They were also extremely self-centered. Whenever challenges or crises appear in their life, instead of taking responsibility, they naturally expected everyone around them to stop what they were doing and fully support them, help them, rescue them, carry them through difficult times. But the ironic part is that once the difficult period passed, it was almost like they developed amnesia. They completely forgot the support others gave them and believed they overcame everything entirely on their own. These cards strongly suggest someone with an extreme fragile ego hidden beneath overwhelming pride. Yes, the Emperor can sometimes represent a father figure or someone with Aries energy, but this can honestly refer to anyone, or again, a repeating personality type in your life. Because of the authority figure, your past life never truly felt peaceful. You were either constantly calming them down, helping them solve problems, managing their emotions, or you lived with this constant anxiety, waiting for the next crisis to happen. And because so much of your energy was consumed by this person, you also began avoiding your own issues. After taking care of them, you have no energy left for yourself. This also created a scarcity mindset and a defensive mentality. Even things or people that could genuinely help you began to feel threatening, as if they were invading your already limited personal space and energy. I can feel your inner conflict. Part of you wants to step outside your comfort zone because growth matters deeply to you. But another part fears that growth will once again cost you the little personal space you still have left. I also feel that because of this energy depletion, you may have developed certain compensatory behaviors. Some of these behaviors provide temporary satisfaction, but afterward, the emptiness becomes even stronger. The major change happening now is directly connected to this authority figure losing power over your life. Maybe you initiated this separation because you simply couldn't endure it anymore. Or maybe it happened unexpectedly, almost as if the universe removed them from you. Either way, after a brief of somewhat chaotic recovery period, I see your personal energy finally rising again. You stop avoiding the areas of life that need restructuring and begin confronting them directly. Yes, things might still look messy externally, but for the first time, you realize, wait, I can actually handle this. And this is when you begin understanding something very important. You were never weak. You never feared responsibility or change. Discipline was never your problem. In fact, you possess incredibly resilience and explosive strength. This is a beautiful transformation. And finally, let's look at abundance entering your life. The cards we have here are the World and the Justice. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Chariot. Wow, three major arcana cards. You are stepping into a completely different life script. This is not simply a new chapter within the same story. This is an entirely different timeline. A completely new parallel reality branching out from the old one. Yes, the split required a tower moment, the mental and emotional collapse, but almost like an experiment triggering a chain reaction. That destruction gave birth to a brand new world. And in this new reality, there is no chaos, no power gains. Everything operates with fairness, balance, and clarity. People fulfill their own responsibility. They support one another while still carrying their own weight. The abundance entering your life comes through finally experiencing inner wholeness. This doesn't mean you were broken before. It's just that many of your authentic traits were suppressed and replaced with survival behaviors, performance behaviors, and compensatory behaviors. But in this new timeline, you develop healthy autonomy. You are no longer controlled by the external authority. You become your own authority. You realize you were already complete all along. These cards give me the feeling that wherever your eyes land, the love you once dreamed about begins manifesting there. Your efforts finally produce visible results. The place your hands point toward naturally become pathways, and you move forward quickly, almost unbelievable quickly. What's fascinating is that you may repeatedly experiencing intense deja vu during this period. And that's because when you're gathering your soul fragments in the past, you blessed every single piece of yourself along the way. Now, those blessings are finally manifesting in reality. Before, it felt like you were watching your own apocalypse movie. But now, it feels like you are living inside a healing film written by your own hands. This energy is deeply therapeutic. In the physical world, this could manifest as completely leaving behind your old life path, moving somewhere entirely new, or creating a healthier family dynamic than the one you grew up with, or beginning a free and peaceful lifestyle where you travel, explore, and live more slowly and intentionally. No matter how it appears, one thing is certain, you become whole, and your life becomes filled with vitality and abundance. The oracle card you receive is Void of Quartz Moon. Okay, so this card carries several messages. First, if there is something you are currently worrying about, this card says the thing you fear will not happen, so you can relax. The second thing is, you need solitude right now. You need space to completely empty your mind and spirit. Especially for those currently going through the tower phase, please be patient with yourself. The breakdown is temporary. The abundance waiting in your new timeline is very real. And the third message, visualization and imagination are powerful manifestation tools for you right now. But stay open-minded, because sometimes what we imagine for ourselves is not actually the best possibility available to you. There may already be something even better quietly waiting nearby. So, remain open and surrender to the many forms abundance may take. Okay, Pile 1, you are doing incredibly well. Sending so much love and blessings to all of you, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello, Group 2, welcome to your reading. First, let's look at the fear you've been carrying. The cards we have here are the Three of Wands and the Three of Cups, with the King of Swords as the underlying energy. Alright, I'm sensing a deep inner tug-of-war here, but this isn't a conflict happening in the mind, it's happening in the heart. On one hand, you long to explore the unknown, but on the other hand, you are deeply attached to familiarity, comfort, and emotional safety. Normally, you are actually a very intelligent and decisive person. In everyday situations, you are not someone who hesitates endlessly or struggles to make decisions. Quite the opposite, you usually know exactly what you want. But when it comes to this particular life choice, you become unusually conflicted. You can't use your normal logic or analytical thinking to arrive at an answer. And that's because the decision has nothing to do with logic. It has nothing to do with which option is objectively better. The choice is directly tied to your soul's desires. So no matter how much you analyze the opportunities, people, environments, or possibilities around you, it still feels unresolved. Because ultimately, your decision is not controlled by the external circumstances. It's not even controlled by the opportunity itself. If your goal is simply to make the correct choice, then life keeps placing you in situations where there is no obvious right or wrong answer. The King of Swords as the underlying energy confirms that your confusion has nothing to do with intelligence or lack of information. The situations you encounter are always deeply tied to emotion and instinct longing, and those things are very difficult to define through objective logic alone. These cards make me feel that your fear is actually very subtle. From the outside, nothing dramatic may appear to be happening, but internally, your mind and emotions are constantly circling around uncertainty. You're afraid that by choosing exploration, you'll sacrifice peace, comfort, and those gentle, enjoyable moments in life. But at the same time, you're also afraid that by staying too comfortable, you'll miss the most beautiful experiences life could offer you. Those number 3 cards carry strong Empress energy, which tells me that both creation and enjoyment matter deeply to you. Neither should be abandoned. So right now, you are carefully evaluating whether opportunity and comfort can coexist, or whether they inevitably interfere with one another. You'd experience a constant emotional push and pull in life. On one side, you subtly resist opportunities, even opportunities you genuinely wanted and worked hard for it. But once you begin pursuing them, a strange feeling of resentment or emotional discomfort can appear, especially when challenges arise. You may start questioning, did I make the wrong choice? Is this really worth emotional cost? Maybe this path just isn't suitable for me. But then on the other side, if life becomes too comfortable and too easy for too long, you begin feeling emotionally numb or uninspired. Because vitality requires movement, it requires emotional waves. You need to feel life force flowing through you. Otherwise, even pleasure itself can eventually lead you into apathy, emotional detachment, or even self-neglect. And this is why the King of Swords appears here. This card is not asking you to choose between exploration and comfort. It's asking you to manage both wisely. When exploring, know when to pause. When indulging, know when to return to clarity. Balanced, measured, neither extreme nor avoidance. Now let's look at the energetic shift currently happening in your life. We have Two of Swords and the Hangman. At the bottom of the deck, we have Strength card. Pile 2. You are currently reconciling with yourself. And more importantly, you are slowly learning to accept all the discomfort that naturally comes with self-reconciliation, no matter how unfamiliar this process feels, no matter how awkward it feels, no matter how much part of you wants to return to your old way of living. Deep down, when you are calm and honest with yourself, you already know this journey eventually leads to a feeling of coming home after wandering for a very long time. It's like once believing your home was too crowded or restrictive, only to realize after years of traveling that it was actually warm and comforting all along. Or once disliking certain traits within yourself, only to later understand that those very traits are pressures. Your cards give me the feeling that mentally, you've always been someone who changes constantly. On one day this feels right, another day that feels right too. So the energetic shift happening now is that you're fully accepting this uncertainty, this ever-changing and defined version of yourself. You're beginning to explore life while allowing yourself the freedom to change your mind at any time. You allow yourself to take the first step, then regret it immediately afterward, and still keep moving forward anyway. And I know this may sound negative on the surface, but really sit with it for a moment. If you were allowed to regret things, complain sometimes, quit when necessary, restart whenever you want it, wouldn't life actually feel lighter? The Two of Swords tells me that no matter which choice you make, you will probably still wonder, what would have happened if I choose differently? Maybe I should have chosen this path after all. But honestly, that's completely normal, because these moments of discomfort are exactly what keep you questioning the familiar and remaining curious about the unknown. This is your fuel for exploration, and through constantly searching for answers, your awareness quietly expands. The Hangman shows that not only are you beginning to accept this uncertainty, you're actually starting to enjoy it. You no longer see changing perspective as discomfort. Instead, you begin sensing a strange beauty within a constant shifting. You may even start feeling safe inside that uncertainty. From the outside, it may seem like you are stuck between different viewpoints or different choices. But in reality, because you understand there are many valid perspectives, you gain the power not to rush. You don't rush to choose. You don't rush to define yourself. You don't rush to take a fixed stance. And this is incredibly rare. Strength as the underlying energy confirms that the experience itself matters more than reaching a final conclusion, because meaning is created through the process. Without a process, even the right answer feels empty. Strength also reminds you that time itself reveals truth. Deep down, you've always understood this subconsciously, and that's why your attitude has often seemed uncertain or fluid, because you are someone observing life across time, witnessing how things evolve and transform. And eventually, you realize something magical. The two things that once seemed completely separate, completely contradictory, can actually merge together beautifully. This is the result of perspective changing over time. It's abstract, but it's incredibly profound. Your way of living and expressing yourself doesn't just contain opinions or personal style. It contains philosophy, the kind people can revisit again and again. And finally, let's look at abundance entering your life. We have the Knight of Pentacles and the High Priestess. We also have the Moon cards as the underlying energy. I feel that after a period of uncertainty and emotional fluctuation, you are entering a deeply grounded state of inner certainty. But this certainty is not about control. It's not a kind of certainty that says, everything will go exactly according to my plan. No, it's the kind of certainty that says, no matter what choice I make, eventually I will meet the things I fear, the things I long for, the things I desire, and all the soft, vulnerable parts within myself. Maybe right now, you're still unsure what exactly you are afraid of. Maybe you are unsure what your feelings towards someone truly mean. Maybe you question whether your desires come from genuine passion or simply ego. But deep down, you know you will eventually understand. Maybe through fulfillment, maybe through regret. And so, you begin moving forward steadily, gently, peacefully, while still carrying uncertainty within you. But here's the difference. The uncertainty no longer feels like a burden. It no longer feels like a puzzle you must urgently solve, or a responsibility you must carry. Instead, it becomes like the sacred book in the High Priestess' hands. When the time is right, you'll naturally turn to the correct page and suddenly understand everything. These cards make me feel that the abundance entering your life is reuniting with yourself. Perhaps your previous confusion was actually about your identity all along. You wondered, how can I be both introverted and extroverted? How can I want challenge and still want ease? How can I crave a colorful, exciting, passionate life while also desiring peace and simplicity? And eventually you realize these things were never mutually exclusive. The moon card suggests your energy moves in cycles, so these seemingly contradictory parts of you are not enemies. They simply take turns expressing themselves. You stop forcing yourself into one fixed identity, one fixed mood, or one fixed lifestyle. You allow yourself to flow naturally and embody whatever feels most authentic in that moment. For some of you, especially if you have struggled with depression or emotional heaviness before, I see major healing here. You stop forcing yourself to always be optimistic, always energetic, always okay. And paradoxically, once you stop resisting your emotional states, your energy improves because you are no longer exhausting yourself fighting your own nature. When resistance fades, healing finally has space to happen. Your intuition also becomes incredibly sharp and accurate. Like I mentioned earlier, you'll continue moving forward while holding uncertainty, only to later realize your original intuition was correct all along. For those involved in creative work, I see powerful inspiration connected to the night, moonlight, dreams, the subconscious, and the divine feminine energy. Many creative projects may emerge from this period, and even if you are not an artist professionally, your natural energy becomes softer, dreamier, mysterious, and emotional magnetic. And some of you may even begin building a grounded spiritual practice or spiritual career. Your oracle card is Supermoon. Emotions are running high. This perfectly matches your entire reading. You carry incredibly deep emotional richness, and when this card appears, it actually signals that a wave of blessings is about to enter your life. Even if your life has felt calm and emotionally flat recently, things may suddenly become emotionally vibrant because so many good things begin unfolding at once, and your emotions themselves become creative fuel. Do not fear emotional intensity. You are learning how to transform scattered feelings into meaningful creations filled with soul. Okay, sending love and blessings to everyone who chose Pile 2, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello Group 3, welcome to your reading. First, let's look at the fear you've been carrying. We have the Ace of Cups, the Seven of Cups, with the Ten of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Okay, this is such a delicate kind of fear. This isn't an intense kind of fear tied to survival, danger, or extreme people and situations. Instead, your fear is much softer and more subtle. You're afraid of losing the parts of yourself and the lifestyle you currently cherish. Or perhaps you're afraid that you may never fully become the version of yourself you deeply long for. And because this fear is so quiet, it weaves itself into everyday life almost invisibly. It doesn't scream for attention, it's not dramatic. So over time, you may unconsciously ignore the small sting it leaves behind. What I feel you truly value or deeply aspire toward is a heart that moves from self-love into compassion for others, a softness that still chooses imagination even after experiencing nightmares, a freedom that continues choosing love despite knowing loss and mistakes are possible. The Ten of Cups in this particular deck strongly emphasizes the idea of something precious being lost and found again. And as the underlying energy, it actually suggests that everything you fear losing, and even the qualities you haven't fully reached yet, will ultimately belong to you. But there's something important I need to clarify. From a spiritual perspective, having something does not necessarily carry a permanent timestamp. It isn't always continuous or fixed. Because when we talk about losing something and finding it again, the loss itself almost becomes part of the journey toward reunion. Loss and possession are not truly opposites, but emotionally as human beings. Once we've lost something precious before, it becomes very difficult not to fear losing it again. Even if we intellectually understand what's meant for me will return, it's still incredibly hard to let go fearlessly. It's hard not to resist the possibility of reliving pain. until eventually, after enough cycles, you begin realizing, I'm actually no longer afraid. It really does come back. Maybe I never truly lost it at all. Also, these cards make me feel that part of your fear becomes from questioning whether your happiness is genuine. You wonder, am I really happy? Am I truly as joyful and fulfilled as I appear? Is my optimism real? Is my kindness authentic? Or am I somehow performing these qualities for myself and others? And because of that, you may seek reassurance through spiritual messages, readings like this, or external validation to help stabilize your inner world. But I really want to tell you something important. These fearful thoughts do not mean you are weak. They do not mean you are overly emotional, and they are not a sign of low vibration. Actually, what's happening is that you instinctively recognize when certain emotions, both within yourself and within others, feel fragile or surface level, and because of that, you naturally search for something more grounded and genuine beneath them. For example, if someone lacks confidence, true healing doesn't come from pretending to be confident or constantly seeking reassurance from others. Real confidence comes from developing substance, sufficient practices, and a trust within yourself. And yes, I know there are countless manifestation techniques and a lot of attraction strategies online. But what I'm talking about here is not strategy, it's not performance, it's not mindset hacks. I'm talking about real inner experiences, real emotions, real humanity. Emotions evolve just like material things and life experiences do. They begin from nothing, expand into complexity, and eventually return to peace again. And for you, after all the experiences you go through, your final sense of fulfillment circles all the way back to your original emotional truth, which is why, spiritually speaking, you will feel that the Ten of Cups and Ace of Cups are actually the same card. Now let's look at the energetic shift currently happening in your life. We have Ten of Wands and a Six of Swords. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Fool. Pile 3, your energy is honestly fascinating. This is a complete rebirth. And the beautiful thing is that this transformation is not intense or dangerous. It's actually very gentle, but incredibly real. In fact, the transformation feels so real that for the first time, you are beginning to feel the true weight of reality itself. Your first group of cards carried very strong water energy, which means the entire journey is deeply connected to emotions and inner truth. And emotions are keys to discovering the authentic self. What's changing now is that you are no longer dismissing your emotional depth, but simply labeling yourself as too sensitive and moving on. Instead, you are beginning to ask, what do these emotions actually want? What longing exists beneath them? What sadness? What unmet desire? What memory? What person or experience shaped these feelings? This doesn't mean you were incapable of sensing these things before. It's just that, before, the truth felt so overwhelming to fully face, because truth carries weight, and only when your inner core becomes stable enough can you truly hold that weight without collapsing. So, if lately you feel like you can't stop analyzing your emotions, like you are spiraling deeply inward, please do not doubt yourself. Only people with strong enough inner foundations will face their emotions directly. Otherwise, most people choose numbness or avoidance. What I see happening is that not only can you face the weight and intensity of truth, you can now clearly identify and articulate what each emotion actually represents. And here's the fascinating part. At the exact moment you think, I can't avoid this anymore. I have to face this. I can't rely on someone to save me or protect me from all this emotional intensity. The emotional storm suddenly disappears. Everything becomes calm, and you almost feel confused by how quickly clarity arrives. Suddenly you understand things. You know where to go. You know what to do. You stop panicking. You stop procrastinating. Life starts moving in your favor. The places you visit feel even more beautiful than the pictures online. And the opportunities you once believed were not meant for you somehow begin choosing you. Even the people around you naturally reveal softer, gentler sides of themselves in your presence. You simply see things differently now. And this doesn't mean you stop recognizing challenges or potential problems. Nor does it mean you are forcing positivity or pretending everything is good. It simply means you realize those negativity moments do not control your entire life. You begin understanding that in the past, you overestimated the power of fear while underestimating yourself. This transformation may look like rediscovering your original self or regaining lost innocence. But spiritually, it's deeper than that. Your innocence was never truly lost. You were simply witnessing how something simply evolved into complexity and then eventually returning to simplicity again. Honestly, the entire energy here is kind of funny. It feels like you are a very difficult client, okay, reviewing multiple versions of a design, only to finally admit the first version was actually the best. And once that realization clicks, it feels like rebirth. Your energy returns, your hope returns, your vitality returns. And the beautiful thing is, your energy no longer comes from constantly gaining more externally. It comes from carrying less internally. I also see many of you physically transforming during this time. Your body may become stronger or more toned. You move with more purpose. You enjoy exercise more. You feel lighter, more alive, more present. And deep down, you genuinely begin feeling, this is the best era of my life. Finally, let's look at the abundance entering your life. We have King of Swords, King of Pentacles. At the bottom of the deck, we have Strength card. Okay, this is incredible. For a long time, you may have felt that what you lacked the most was strength. Well, now strength arrives. You become the kind of person others deeply wish they had in their lives. As family, as a friend, as a partner, as a collaborator. You become someone who can offer both wisdom and stability. You help people organize their thoughts and see clearly, and at the same time, your presence feels grounding and emotionally safe. You are ambitious and driven, but you also deeply appreciate peace and simplicity. And because of this balance, you stop over-explaining yourself. You stop constantly trying to prove yourself. You stop fighting for validation. Because you become stable and clear-minded, people naturally trust you. Because you become fulfilled yet humble, people naturally gravitate toward you. Because you have both wisdom and practical ability, opportunities and resources naturally flow toward you. And because you understand yourself deeply, temporary chaos, rejection, misunderstandings, or setbacks no longer shake your foundation. You move according to your own rhythm and philosophy. Your influence is not loud or forceful. It's something that slowly builds over time through consistency and authenticity. And there's a very interesting spiritual message here. There is actually so much abundance in this world waiting to manifest. But many people either don't believe long enough, don't wait long enough, or never recognize when it's near. But you can feel abundance trying to come through. And because of that, you choose to become the channel for it, the platform for it, the vessel for it. It's almost like we were all created with potential. We were all chosen in some way. But in the past, we did not choose ourselves. Now you finally do. So you begin allowing abundance into your life, and you accept becoming the pathway through which abundance manifests into reality. In the physical world, this may look like finally accepting opportunities and responsibilities you once avoided. You stop forcing immediate perfection, but you also stop giving up too early. You keep moving steadily toward through trial, adjustment, and experiences, until eventually you reach the title, the lifestyle, and the success you once dreamed of. Your oracle card is New Moon in Pisces. Meditate and contemplate. The new moon symbolizes new beginnings, and the Pisces as the final sign of the zodiac represents the closing of a cycle, which means you are standing at the beginning of the final chapter before a dream becomes reality. You need to trust your softness and vulnerability more deeply, because your true strength lives there. Real strength is not armor protecting wounds. Real strength is the resilience hidden inside tenderness. Your emotions are guiding you toward the very things you have been avoiding, because hidden within them are profound healing and spiritual wealth. This card also suggests that your life is gradually becoming more romantic, dreamy, and spiritually nourishing. You will feel emotionally supported by life itself. Your compassion deepens, your intuition strengthens, and interestingly, you may still move forward with a little uncertainty, half believing, half doubting. Yet somehow, you continue making the right choices anyway. Okay, sending love and blessings to everyone who chose Power 3, and I'll see you in the next reading.